the dreaded GOAT list, the one topic in MMA that will never be resolved ever. It will just be continually debated for years and years to come, and we'll never have a definitive answer as to the list itself. We might have answers for the singular greatest of all time in the men's or the women's division, but even that, it's still debated. Even people still debate whether John Jones should be the GOAT, maybe because of steroid use and personal problems and such. Well, I'm going to tackle that. I'm going to try my best to tackle the GOAT list, and I'm going to try my best to give the most definitive answer I can to the greatest male and female fighters of all time. Now, I do have my male GOAT list done. It is finalized and it is done, but first I think we should give attention to the women's GOAT list. It's not talked about a lot. Women's MMA isn't really talked about a lot either, but they deserve it. And they have their GOATs too. They have their great fighters too, and they deserve to be talked about. So before we get into it, I just want to say that this one's going to be a top 10 just because of the fact that women's MMA is less dense, less divisions, less history, less standout fighters than just the men's divisions do. It just is how it is, and it would be really hard to rank it any more than a top 10. The men's GOAT list, I will say I do have a top 15, and I will be coming out with that soon. But for today, we have the women's GOAT list at the top 10. So be sure to give this video a like, be sure to subscribe. If you're here, thank you so much for checking out this channel. It really does mean a lot. I really just make these videos for fun, and it means a lot if you're checking them out. So without further ado, number 10, I have Miesha Tate. Now, Miesha Tate is kind of an interesting one. Looking through her record, she doesn't have very many quality wins other than rather than Holly Holm and Jessica Ai. She's still ranked in the, I believe it's the bantamweight division. Yeah, she's still ranked in the bantamweight division today. I'm putting her at number 10 because of her bantamweight title win against Holly Holm. That's a pretty solid win, pretty solid comeback win, and she has a decent streak outside of the UFC and inside of the UFC with her Strikeforce wins, her Strikeforce titles. She's beat Liz Carmouche, Jessica Ai, Holly Holm. I think those are pretty decent wins, and the Holly Holm win is really what puts her in here. But I just don't think that she can really crawl any higher than that, given her lack of resume. She doesn't really have a lengthy or a dense resume of names that I would really like to see in anyone higher in this list. So that's why Miesha Tate's here at number 10. And speaking of Holly Holm, I have her at number 9. I just think she has more quality wins. Yes, she did lose to Miesha Tate, but like I just said, she has more quality wins. She has more quality recent wins, and she has just a bit longer of a resume, in the UFC to go off of. Those wins, she had a recent win over Raquel Pennington 2020. It kind of feels weird to say 2020 is recent, but I'd say it's in the last 4 years. It's pretty recent. Irene Aldana in 2020 as well. Yana Santos in 2023. And she hasn't lost too terribly bad to random fighters or anything. She lost a split to Caitlin Vera. She lost to Harrison. She lost to Nunes. She lost to Cyborg. She lost to Durandamy, Shevchenko, Miesha Tate. So all champions except for Caitlin Vera and Kayla Harrison. But let's be real, Kayla Harrison is going to be a future champ someday anyways. Like I said, a win over Megan Anderson, Bethe Correia, Raquel Pennington, Irene Aldana, Ronda Rousey. Actually 2 wins over Raquel Pennington. I put that above any of Miesha Tate's wins, and I do value that resume in the UFC for Holly Holm. Even though she has less fights on her record, I think that her UFC resume does speak better than Miesha Tate's. And at number 8, this one is going to be a pretty controversial one. I don't see her in any GOAT lists. I don't see her in the top 10 anywhere else in the forums that I did read discussing GOAT lists, but I'm going to do my best to explain this for you guys. This is probably going to be my hottest take for a long, long time, but I have Carla Esparza at the number 8 greatest of all time female fighters. Now, let me explain why. I think she has a more consistent resume than both Miesha Tate and Holly Holm. She has only really lost to top contenders, champions. Inside the UFC, she lost to Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She's lost to Zhang Wei Li, and those are champions. Other losses, Tisha Pennington in a retirement fight. She was gone for 2 years, and she lost to Tisha Pennington. You know, I can excuse that. Tatiana Suarez, Claudia Gadelha, I think that's how you pronounce it. Rana Marcos, those were top contenders at the time, and some of them are still top contenders now. Looking at her best wins, Rose Namajunas twice. I know the second win was fluky, and I know the first win was a long time ago, but that's 2 wins over Rose Namajunas and a recent win over Rose Namajunas. No matter how fluky it was, that's still a name on the resume. Additionally, recent wins, I think she has better recent wins than Holly Holm does. Yan Xiaonan finished her. Marina Rodriguez, pretty decent win. Alexa Grasso in 2019. Virna Jandiroba in 2019. Both top contenders, and Alexa Grasso being a former champ. Yeah, like I said, I just think her... Also, and like Angela Hill, Jessica Pennington... Tisha Pennington and Jessica Penne on The Ultimate Fighter back in 2014, along with her win over Rose in 2014. Excuse me. I like those wins a bit better, plus a 2-time champion, able to build herself back up and regain the belt, whereas Holly Holm and Miesha Tate have just fallen off after their title losses. I like that win better for... I like those wins better for Carla Esparza. And like I said, I just think she's more consistent of a fighter. And that's why I have her number 8. Like I said, it's kind of a hot take. I know I don't see her anywhere in the top 10 anywhere else, but I do think she deserves to be mentioned. And I do think she deserves to be recognized for her consistency. Anyways, number 7, I have Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Now, Joanna, the second strawweight champion, immediately beat Carla Esparza after she won the title. And she went on to have, I believe, 5 title defenses. And like I said, I just think that she deserves to be recognized for those 5 title defenses. Any notable names in there include Jessica Penne, Claudia Gadelha, Carolina Kovalevich, Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade's pretty decent win. Other notable wins, well, actually one other notable win in Tisha Pennington. And she's only lost to the best of the best. She lost to Rose Namajunas, Zhang Wei Li, each of them twice, and then Valentina Shevchenko. So, and she had that absolute war with Zhang Wei Li, where she took her to a split decision. So I really like that for Joanna. I do think, like I said, her 5 title defenses deserve to put her in the top 10 all time and then at number 7 all time. Things that keep her from going any higher, I would say names on the resume, quality wins. I know she was an early champion, very early champion before the strawweight division really took off with like thick name value. But 5 title defenses is still very impressive. And just the aura that she brought to the division back in the day was unmatched at the time. And it took Rose Namajunas to derail that. And we'll talk about her later. Spoiler alert, I guess. But like I said, she's only lost to the best of the best. And her title reign deserves to be mentioned and put in here. Speaking of which, Zhang Wei Li, I have at the number 6 spot. Now, some people might flip Zhang Wei Li and Rose Namajunas. I'm really, really close to flipping Zhang Wei Li and Rose Namajunas. I think that Zhang Wei Li is very, very, very close to becoming the greatest strawweight of all time. and I think she just needs 1 or 2 more title wins. She's at 2 title defenses right now, beating the likes of Carla Esparza to regain the title for her second title reign. Amanda Lemos and Yan Xiaonan in absolute dominating fashion in all 3 of them. She KO'd Zhang Weili. She beat her again back in the day in her first title defense in her first title reign after beating Jessica Andrade. Like I said, let's look at these names here. This is really impressive. Okay, Tisha Pennington, decent win. Jessica Andrade, Joanna twice. Carla Esparza, Lemos, and Xiaonan, and all in pretty, all other than the first Joanna win in extremely dominant fashion, and has only lost to Rose Namajunas. That's it. And then, she has 3 losses on her record. Her other losses, Bo Meng in her first ever MMA fight in 2013. That doesn't count. Okay, just doesn't count. It's her first fight ever. Come on, And like I said, just 25-3 is a really good record to look on paper. And like I said, her absolute dominance in the division and how she's taking out these girls in the division is impressive. And she's only lost to 1 girl. That's Rose. And Rose is an impressive fighter in and of herself. Things that prevent her from going any higher in the GOAT list, I think just a little more names. Like I said, 1 or 2 more title wins puts her above Rose, which, spoiler, is in my next spot, in my number 5 spot. We'll talk about her in a second. If she keeps winning, her next title fight probably will be either Tatiana Suarez or Virna Jandiroba. I reckon she beats both of them. I think Tatiana is an easier fight than Virna. Virna actually has a pretty dangerous ground game, and I'd love to see that fight, by the way. I'd love to see that fight, but I think if she beats both of them, she's cleared out the division, and I think she easily puts herself in the greatest strawweight of all time. I know Joanna kind of holds that title right now, but I think Rose is very close to beating her, if not already. So that is why I have Weili at number 6, and at number 5, I have Rose Namajunas. Now, Rose, she has some amazing wins. First off, let's talk about that. Let's talk about her wins. 2 wins over Joanna Jędrzejczyk and 2 wins over the aforementioned Zhang Weili. Those are amazing, right? And in my opinion, that puts her above both of them, as well as other wins over Paige Van Zandt back in the day, Angela Hill back in the day. Those were pretty good wins at the time. Tisha Pennington was also a pretty good win at the time. We're going to ignore the Michelle Watterson win. Jessica Andrade was also a good win at the time. Also, her second win in the flyweight division is impressive, beating Amanda Ribas and then Tracy Cortez, and she's going to fight, I believe it's not Macy Barber. I'll think of her name in a second. Erin Blanchfield, that's who it is. She's fighting Erin Blanchfield soon, and I reckon she probably beats Blanchfield. And I think her longevity speaks volumes. She's had more longevity than Esparza, than Holm, than Jędrzejczyk, and Tate too. Then again, Tate preceded her, but whatever, right? The thing that keeps her from climbing any further, and the thing that can put her placement into question, is her dodgy losses, her weird losses, right? So we go back. She lost to Tisha Pennington and Invicta FC in 2013. Okay, whatever, right? Carla Esparza on the Ultimate Fighter. Okay, that's okay, right? Kovalkiewicz in 2016. Okay, right? Then she had that weird slam finish against Jessica Andrade. Fair and square, honestly, but then that loss to Carla Esparza in 2022, that was weird. That especially was really weird. And then just getting out-muscled by Manon Fiorot and just looking like she kind of didn't belong in there. I know she broke her finger in that fight, but Fiorot didn't, watching that fight, Fiorot didn't employ any technical takedown defense. Rose would shoot a takedown and Fiorot would just push her off. She's even still a little undersized at flyweight, but like I said, some spotty losses throughout her career kind of keep her from going any higher. But like I said, 2 wins over two of the greatest strawweights of all time is amazing, and finishing them in impressive fashion the first time around, avenging her loss to Jessica Andrade, and then her second win in her flyweight run is impressive. And that's why I have her at number 5. You could put Wei Li over Nami Yunus at in the GOAT list, as like Wei Li's kind of been able to really solidify her place in the strawweight division. You know, Rose kind of just regained the title and then slipped again, you know. So that's why I have her there. At number 4, I have Ronda Rousey. Now, Ronda Rousey, she had 7, I believe, title defenses in the bantamweight division. First bantamweight champion, first female UFC champion, period, right? And I think that speaks volumes, right? And I think that's got to propel her somewhat into greatness, right? She paved the way for the sport, and she paved the way for the rest of women's MMA in the early days. She started it all. She was the first superstar in the women's weight classes. And not only that, she was just a superstar in general, like competing with the guys in the superstar category, right? When people talk about the Conor McGregor, right? She was right next to Conor McGregor in that term. So that was impressive. But her in-cage fightings, 7 title wins, but 6 title defenses over the likes of Miesha Tate, once in Strikeforce and the other in the UFC. She also beat Sarah McMahon. She beat Kat Zingano, Bethe Correia, Liz Carmouche. Pretty decent wins, I'd say. And let's talk about her losses, right? She did lose in embarrassing fashion both times, and she did not take those losses well at all, and she has not been helping herself at all. She has not been doing herself any favors at all in her career, and it's been obvious that she can't handle a loss. But let's just look at it. She lost to Holly Holm, who's kind of a stylistic nightmare for her, and she lost to Amanda Nunes. That's it. Right? Her losses, 12-2, like, those are her only losses, you know? So I think that's okay. You know, like I said, they were embarrassing, but it's to Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes. That's it. The thing that keeps her from ascending any higher, like I said, I think she's here because of her 6 title defenses and because of the legacy she carved out at bantamweight. But I would have liked to see a longer career if her ego had been able to take those losses, if her ego had let her like be okay with losing, you know, because it happens, you know. Then again, she doesn't have a lot of the name resume because it was the early women's UFC. There weren't any really big names other than her and Miesha Tate. That was just it, you know. And Chris Cyborg in another promotion hadn't come to the UFC just yet, right? So that's what keeps her from going any higher, is her name, is her lack of names and her lack of longevity. But the name she really can't help, and the longevity, her ego just didn't let her. So that's why I have her at number 4. I don't think she'll go any higher. She might slip to number 5 at some point, but like I said, I think that Ronda Rousey is just too much of a name to not be any lower than number 4. I know a lot of people have her at number 3. I can't put her at number 3 personally, but I think number 4 is a good spot for her. Number 3, Chris Cyborg. Now we're getting into the point where you guys know who's on the list now, right? And in what order they're in. Now, Chris Cyborg, she has a total of 2 losses in her MMA career, period. One of those losses being Amanda Nunes, and the other loss being Erica Pice, I believe is how you say it, in 2005 in her MMA debut. That's it, right? 28-2. And now she's been a champion in every major promotion in mixed martial arts. She's been a champion in Strikeforce. She's been a champion in Bellator, or UFC first. Then she was a champion in Bellator. And now she's a champion in the PFL. mean, if she were to go over to one championship, that'd be really impressive too. But like, she's been champion in pretty much every major promotion she's ever been in. And when you look at her longevity, like I said, she started MMA in 2005 and she's still going in 2024. You know, she's 39. I reckon she ought to retire soon, but it looks like she's slowing down. You know, you can say whatever you want about the failed drug tests, whatever, but she hasn't popped since. She popped once. She popped once. That's it. You know? And like I said, her longevity is just impressive. And that's why I have her at this number 3. It's because she has the best on paper record, and don't mean to sound like Anthony Smith, right? She has the best on paper record out of anyone in this GOAT list, even out of the 2 above her. She has a better record than the other 2 women above her. And she has more longevity than I think anyone else on this list besides Shevchenko, I believe. But then again, Shevchenko was also fighting in boxing and not boxing. Yeah, Shevchenko boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, like that kind of stuff. She was fighting in there a long time. Cyborg was only doing MMA. So Cyborg has the best MMA longevity, right? I think the only thing, and you guys know what I'm about to say, the only thing that's going to keep her from going any higher on this list probably is lack of name value. In terms of names that she's beaten, she's beat Holly Holm and Kat Zingano. That's, in terms of names, that's it, you know? And looking at the other fighters' resumes that she's beaten, they're not that great. You know, Leslie Smith, 12, 8-1. Arlene Blenko, 15-8. Larissa Pacheco, I think that's how you say it, recently, 23-4, pretty decent record, but she hasn't beat a lot of good fighters. She's just beat a lot of fighters. And so I think, theoretically speaking, she would be like, she is like GOAT material. Like, she is almost the greatest female fighter of all time. But like I said, the lack of name value and the lack of quality fighters, I think, stunts her from going any higher. But in terms of quantity, she has the best quantity out of any fighter ever, and she's only lost to Amanda Nunes. That's it. Anyways, number 2, Valentina Shevchenko. Got to get a sip of that apple cider, y'all. Apple cider is better than orange juice. Too bad it's too expensive. Anyways, Shevchenko. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? I believe she had 5 or 6 title defenses in her first flyweight title reign. And in terms of losses, I believe she's only lost to Amanda Nunes and Alexa Grasso and Liz Carmouche back in 2010. Yeah, that doesn't really count. I think she does have she's been fighting in MMA longer than Chris Cyborg has, but then again, she's sprinkled in Muay Thai, kickboxing, and boxing throughout then, so there's that. She does have more quality wins than Chris Cyborg does. She has Holly Holm, she has Juliana Pena, Priscilla Cachoeira is decent, Ioana Jędrzejczyk, really good win, Jessica Ai, Carmouche, Sermonara, Andrade, Lauren Murphy, Tyler Santos, and then she got the title back against Alexa Grasso. So I believe those are, in my opinion, those are more quality wins than Cyborg has. And she arguably beat Amanda Nunes the second time. So, yeah, there's that. Going to war twice with Amanda Nunes is very impressive. And she's won her title back, and who knows what she's going to do with it. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, 7 title defenses in her first title reign. Very, very impressive. More than not Holly Holm. Sorry, Ronda Rousey. More than Ronda Rousey. More than Ioana Jędrzejczyk. Sorry, I'm blanking on names. I've been talking too much. But that's the quality win she's got. She's got probably the most title defenses. She's easily the second greatest fighter of all time, and I think she's closer to the #1 spot than we like to give her credit for. I know we like to put Amanda Nunes as the #1, and Amanda Nunes is the greatest of all time, and I do believe that she is, and I'll talk about that in a second, but I believe that Valentina Shevchenko is closer than a lot of people give her credit for. And her 7 title defenses and her regaining of the title in dominant fashion is something to behold. Anyways, you all knew this when the video was going to start. Amanda Nunes is the greatest female fighter of all time. And the main thing that really puts her up here is not only her dominant title reign, but her double champ status. And the fact that she retired as double champ. She kept both belts upon retirement. Looking through her wins, like we said earlier, 2 wins over Valentina Shevchenko, a win over Miesha Tate, win over Ronda Rousey, Chris Cyborg, Raquel Pennington, I already said Holly Holm, but Holly Holm, Jermaine Durandamy, Megan Anderson, Juliana Pena, Irene Aldana. She has the best quality wins out of any other female fighter here on this list. I just think she does. And the fact that she got 5 title defenses in bantamweight and then 2 title defenses in featherweight. She defended both of those belts multiple times. And yeah, she lost her bantamweight title to Juliana Pena, but she beat her again. She beat her in that rematch, and then she defended that again, just for good measure, against Irene Aldana, a very game fighter in Irene Aldana. And she retired with both belts. She was able to put both belts down in the octagon and say, I'm done. I've done it all. And she really has done it all. Like I said, I just keep saying it, the best quality wins. She doesn't have like the most lengthy resume, but 28 fights, 23-5 is decent. It's pretty good, you know? And like, what more can you say about her? Double champ, dominant champ. Any losses, she just avenged those losses, and she is the greatest fighter of all time. And I don't think there's really much other debate. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching. Again, thank you for checking out my channel and taking the time to watch this video. I know it's been close to 28 minutes now, and I've been rambling on about fighting and resumes and looking at the analytics and stuff like that. But I do thank you, and I do appreciate you for taking the time to hear my opinions on this. So, anyways, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will see you when I make the men's GOAT video.